Chosen one, you must understand something before anything else. You were never an accident. You were not born to simply survive, to drift, or to disappear among the crowd. From the beginning of time, heaven placed a mark upon you. Every breath you take is counted, and every step you walk is seen. God Himself has ordered your path, even in the moments when you thought you were wandering. Think back those sleepless nights, those times you felt abandoned, the seasons when doors slammed shut right in your face. Do you remember how you survived what others did not? That survival was not luck. That was the evidence that you are not like the rest. You are chosen. You may not realize it, but you have been walking under a divine spotlight, even when others mocked you, even when they tried to bury you in shame, even when you questioned if God had forgotten. His eyes were never off you. Your steps were being ordered. Sometimes you thought you were walking alone. But if you look deeper, you will see the footprints of God right beside yours. Picture this: a traveler crossing a desert. The sand burns underfoot. The horizon stretches endlessly, and thirst gnaws at the throat. It seems like nothing but wasteland, yet hidden beneath the sand lies a spring, waiting at the next step. That traveler is you. You were never meant to die in the desert. You were meant to find the hidden spring that only the chosen ones discover. I know you have questions. Why so much pain? Why the rejection? Why the waiting? Because the weight of your calling required the furnace of fire. Every rejection redirected you. Every closed door preserved you. Every silence from heaven was a preparation, not a punishment. Now listen carefully. This very moment is not coincidence. The fact that you hear these words means God has paused the noise around you. Heaven has something to say. Your steps are not random. They are ordered. Scripture says in the book of Proverbs, chapter 16, verse 9, in their hearts, humans plan their course, but the Lord establishes their steps. Do you see it? You may plan. You may dream. You may map out your own way, but it is God who secures your footing. That means even your detours are within His control. Even your mistakes cannot overturn His plan. Chosen one. This is why you cannot quit now. This is why you cannot settle for less than what God spoke over your life. The wilderness is not your end. It is your training ground. You are in the hands of a God who never loses His grip. Let me tell you a story. There was once a young believer who spent years praying for breakthrough. Everyone around them seemed to move forward. Careers blossomed. Families grew. Doors opened. But for this one, nothing seemed to shift. Days became years. Hope wavered. They thought God had overlooked them. But in the silence, something powerful was happening. Roots were growing deep. Character was being shaped. And at the exact appointed time, God opened a door so wide that everyone who had doubted them was left speechless. What looked like delay was actually divine alignment. That story could just as easily be yours. You are living proof that heaven trusts you with waiting, with pain, with endurance. If you were ordinary, the enemy would not fight you so hard. But because you are chosen, he has tried to break you early. Yet here you are, still breathing, still seeking, still marked. Now is the moment to step boldly, to say with your mouth and your heart, Lord, I trust you to order my steps. This is not blind faith, it is strategic faith. The kind that turns valleys into highways and deserts into gardens. So here is my invitation to you right now. If these words are striking deep, don't keep it silent. Share this message so another chosen one does not give up. Press like as a sign that you are standing in faith. Subscribe if you want to keep walking this journey together. And in the comments, write the number 16 as a prophetic act tied to Proverbs chapter 16. Verse 9. Let heaven see your step of agreement. Your journey is only beginning. Chosen one. And this is the first step, believing that your path is divinely ordered. No matter how crooked it once looked, your next step is not small, it is sacred. Each move forward is heaven's choreography, arranging every detail for your good. Keep walking, keep trusting, keep declaring. The path beneath your feet is holy ground, and the destination will astonish even you. You have carried more than most realize. People only see the surface, the smile you wear, the way you keep moving, but they don't see the weight you've dragged silently through the years. They don't see the nights you laid awake, staring at the ceiling, questioning if anything would ever change. They don't know the prayers you whispered, the tears you wiped before stepping into public, pretending to be fine. Yet heaven saw it all. And every ounce of that struggle is not wasted. It has been shaping you into a vessel prepared for ordered steps. The truth is, being chosen has never meant being comfortable. It has meant carrying burdens others could not survive. It has meant walking through storms that tried to break your spirit. It has meant enduring rejection so deep that it felt like your soul had been cut open. But in each wound, God planted strength. In every trial, He layered wisdom upon your heart. What once felt like ashes is quietly turning into beauty. Imagine a sculptor chiseling away at a block of marble. To an untrained eye, it looks like destruction chunks breaking off, fragments scattered on the floor. But to the sculptor, it is progress. Every strike of the hammer is a step closer to the masterpiece. That marble is you. The blows you felt were not to destroy you, but to reveal the design heaven already saw within you. Sometimes the hardest part has been the waiting. You've watched others rise while you remained hidden. You've seen doors swing wide for them, while yours stayed locked. You wondered if God had passed you by. But hidden seasons are sacred seasons. Think of a seed underground. It disappears beneath the soil, buried, unseen, forgotten by those who planted it. Yet in that darkness, life stirs. Roots stretch deep. Strength is formed. And in the right season, the seed breaks through with unstoppable force. That is you, the hidden one, soon to emerge. There's a story often overlooked. Joseph, betrayed by his brothers, thrown into a pit, sold into slavery, wrongfully imprisoned. To the natural eye, it looked like failure stacked upon failure. But in truth, it was a staircase. Every injustice was a step upward, positioning him closer to the throne. By the time he stood before Pharaoh, Joseph had the wisdom of suffering and the endurance of waiting. What nearly destroyed him became the very platform for his destiny. Your life echoes the same rhythm. What you carried, the pain you endured, the tears you hid, they are not disqualifications. They are qualifications. You are being equipped with empathy others cannot fake, with resilience forged in fire, with faith tested in storms. You are not weak because of what you carried. You are unshakable because of it. The Spirit spoke through the prophet Isaiah, chapter 43, verse 2. When you pass through the waters, I will be with you when you pass through the rivers. They will not sweep over you. When you walk through the fire, you will not be burned. This is not just comfort, it is covenant. The weight you carried was heavy, but it never drowned you. The fire was hot, but it never consumed you. Why? Because your steps, even in suffering, were ordered. Look closely at your story. The betrayals you survived became lessons. The heartbreaks you endured made room for compassion. The failures you walked through carved out humility. Each scar became a map, guiding you into the future. You may feel battered, but you are also prepared. You may feel weary, but you are also wiser, and though you may not see it yet, the very weight you carried has aligned you for elevation. Think of yourself as a bridge under construction. At first, it looks chaotic, steel beams exposed, concrete unfinished, ropes and scaffolding everywhere. It doesn't look safe, doesn't look useful, doesn't look like progress. Yet, one day, the scaffolding comes down, the final stones are laid, and the bridge stands firm, ready to carry countless lives across. That is you. The season of wait has been the scaffolding. Soon, the structure will be revealed. Chosen one. The struggles you endured were not proof of God's absence, but of His preparation. He trusted you with pain because He knew it would not destroy you, it would transform you. You are not carrying shame, you are carrying testimony. And one day, those who once pitied you will look again and see the strength of a warrior who endured. Your story is not one of survival only, it is one of rising, rebuilt by God, carrying strength no storm can erase. There are moments in life when God interrupts your path. You thought you were heading one way, and suddenly everything shifted. Plan collapsed, opportunities closed, relationships ended, and at first it felt like betrayal. But in truth, heaven was stepping in. What you thought was rejection was actually redirection. God is not random. Every intersection in your life has meaning. Every delay, every twist, every closed door has been part of His choreography. He is the master conductor, and your life is the symphony. Sometimes He silences instruments you thought were vital, only to introduce a melody far richer, far stronger. Consider this. You were walking down a road thinking it was your future, when suddenly a wall appeared. You hit it hard. You cried. You questioned. Yet that wall was not your enemy, it was your rescue. Beyond it lay destruction you could not see. So God rerouted you. He interrupted to protect you. It is written in the book of Hosea, chapter 2, verse 6. Therefore, I will block her path with thorn bushes. I will wall her in so that she cannot find her way. Strange, isn't it? Sometimes God Himself puts up the walls, not because He wants to harm you, but because He loves you too much to let you wander into disaster. That interruption you cursed may actually be the greatest mercy of your life. Think of Jonah, running from his calling. He bought a ticket to Tarshish, determined to flee. Yet God sent a storm, then a fish, not to destroy him, but to save him from self-destruction. Jonah's detour was his deliverance. Without it, Nineveh would never have been reached, and Jonah himself might never have survived. You, too, have had Jonah moments. The job you didn't get, the relationship that fell apart, The sudden change you didn't understand, they were not coincidences. They were divine interventions. God blocked one way so he could open the right way. Picture a shepherd guiding sheep along a narrow path. A cliff yawns dangerously at one side. If a sheep drifts too close, the shepherd strikes the ground with his staff, forcing it to turn back. To the sheep, it feels like pain. To the shepherd, it is rescue. You are that sheep. Every interruption has been the shepherd's staff saving you from the edge. Chosen one, I need you to hear this. Heaven has not been ignoring you. Heaven has been guiding you. Every step, even the ones that felt like stumbling, have been ordered. The hand of God has been both your boundary and your breakthrough. This is why you must learn to trust interruptions. Do not despise the wall. Do not curse the delay. Instead, pause and ask, Lord, what are you protecting me from? What are you preparing me for? Because behind every closed door is a greater opening waiting. Behind every sudden ending is a beginning written long ago. One day, you will look back and thank God for every interruption. You will realize that the jobs you lost, the people who walked away, the paths that crumbled beneath your feet were all necessary chapters to get you here. What felt like detours were really the exact map to destiny. And right now, I invite you to step into agreement with this truth. In the comments, write, "Guide my steps." Oh, why this phrase? Because it is not just a request, it is a declaration. When you type, "Guide my steps," you are saying to heaven, I no longer lean on my own understanding. I no longer force doors open by my own strength. I yield. I trust. I follow. This short sentence becomes a covenant between your heart and God, a signal that you are ready for Him to lead. And every time you see your own words written, it will remind you that your journey is not aimless, it is divinely directed. When you release those words, something shifts. You stop wrestling with the why of closed doors and start embracing the what now of God's leading. You begin to see interruptions as invitations. Instead of mourning what slipped away, you lean into the promise of what is ahead. Remember, the shepherd never leads his flock into barren land. He always guides them toward green pastures and still waters. So when you write, "Guide my steps," you're not only praying for direction, you're also stepping into peace. You're reminding yourself that every turn, every delay, and every surprising redirection is wrapped in love. This is how your story becomes unstoppable, because it is no longer you walking, but God walking with you. There comes a time when every chosen one must walk through a valley, not the mountain peaks of victory, not the wide open fields of blessing, but the shadowed places where the air feels heavy and hope grows thin. These valleys are not accidents, they are sacred classrooms where God teaches trust in ways the sunshine never could. You know this valley well. It's the season when prayers seem unanswered, when silence presses harder than words. It's the place where friends don't understand, where strength feels drained, where you begin to wonder if you've been forgotten. Yet even here, your steps are ordered. Even here, light is guiding you, though you may not see it at first. Imagine walking at night with only a lantern in hand. The path is steep, rocks threaten your footing, and darkness stretches endlessly. The lantern doesn't show you the whole road, only the next step, but that is enough. One step at a time, the path unfolds. That lantern is God's presence. You may not see tomorrow, but hey, illuminates your today. He makes sure your foot lands safely, even in shadows. This valley is not punishment, it is preservation. In the valley, the noise is stripped away, pride is broken down, false supports fall aside. You are left with raw dependence on God alone. It is here that you discover what you truly believe. Not just what you speak when life is easy. It is in the valley that faith is proven genuine. The writings of David remind us in Psalms, chapter 23, verse 4, "Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me." End of this. Notice the detail. I walk through. The valley is not a permanent residence. You do not pitch a tent there. You move forward, step by step, guided by unseen hands. And while others may collapse in fear, you carry an assurance: the shepherd is with you. His rod and staff are not only symbols of comfort, they are tools of defense and correction. That means you are guarded in every shadow. There was once a woman who endured years of illness. The valley stretched long, and many nights she cried out, "Why me?" Doctors gave no answers, and even friends began to drift away. But in that valley, she discovered intimacy with God she had never known before. In silence, she heard his whispers. In weakness, she leaned into his strength. Years later, when healing came, she carried not only restored health, but also an unshakable faith. The valley did not destroy her, it transformed her. You may be in a similar place now. Maybe your valley is financial strain. Maybe it's loneliness. Maybe it's grief. Whatever its form, the principle remains. Valleys are temporary, but the lessons are eternal. They strip you of self-reliance and teach you to hear God's voice above all others. Think of an eagle flying low through a canyon. Winds, Zwill, walls tower on either side. Vision is limited, yet the eagle does not fear. It uses the very winds of the valley to rise again. That is you. The pressure you feel is not meant to bury you, but to lift you higher. Another picture, a river cutting through rock. To the stone, it seems like destruction, erosion, loss. But to the river, it is shaping, carving, beauty, creating depth. Over time, the valley becomes breathtaking, a place others travel miles to behold. Your valley, too, will one day be a testimony others come to witness. Chosen one. The valley is holy ground. It is not where dreams die, it is where character is born. It is not where you are abandoned, it is where you are refined. Every shadow is temporary, but the light that leads you is eternal. Remember this truth: valleys are never straight lines. They twist, they turn, they conceal the horizon. But the shepherd already sees the exit. He already knows the mountaintop that waits for you. While you focus on surviving the next step, he is orchestrating the entire journey. Do not despise the valley. Walk it with courage, for in every dark step, heaven is close. The one who called you will not leave you in the shadow. You are passing through, and what awaits on the other side is greater than anything you could imagine. Lift your head, even in the low places. Valleys are not endings, they are corridors of transformation. Every tear becomes seed. Every step becomes prophecy. Every shadow becomes proof that light is near. Keep walking, your dawn is already breaking through. There is a hidden compass within your journey. not the kind you hold in your hand, but one heaven placed deep inside your spirit. When you trust God fully, that compass always points true north, even when storms rage, even when the world around you spins in confusion. It does not matter if you can't see the road clearly. The compass is there, steady, aligning you with destiny. Think about sailors long ago. They set out on seas with no landmarks, surrounded only by endless water and threatening skies. Yet they trusted a small needle inside a wooden box to guide them safely. That needle seemed fragile, but it never lied. In the same way, the spirit within you points faithfully toward God's plan. The challenge is not whether the compass works, it is whether you will trust it. Sometimes, trusting the divine compass means walking paths that don't make sense. It means stepping away from opportunities that glitter but aren't aligned with your assignment. It means saying no when everyone else is saying yes. To others, it looks like foolishness, but to you, it is obedience. That compass inside your spirit cannot be bribed by money, popularity, or comfort. It only responds to surrender. We find in the book of Isaiah, chapter 30, verse 21, whether you turn to the right or to the left, your ears will hear a voice behind you, saying, "This is the way, walk in it." Or no, this voice is the compass. It whispers through peace, convicts through unease, and confirms through scripture. You've felt it before, that tug inside when you're about to choose wrongly, or that deep assurance when you're stepping into God's will. Ignore it, and life becomes disoriented. Obey it, and even crooked roads lead straight to glory. There's a story of a man who left his stable career because the compass within would not let him stay. Everyone told him he was reckless. Friends shook their heads. Family whispered behind his back. Yet he trusted the inner voice that said, "Go." Months of struggle followed. But in time, doors opened that aligned with his calling. What once looked like madness became a testimony. That is what the compass does. It carries you through temporary confusion into lasting clarity. Chosen one, you may not realize it, but God has been aligning your steps in small, subtle ways. A conversation you overheard, a door that shut suddenly, a delay you didn't understand. These were not random, they were course corrections. Your compass was shifting you back toward the divine map. Picture a bird migrating thousands of miles. It has no GPS, no maps, no human guidance. Yet instinctively it flies in perfect rhythm with the seasons, always finding its way home. That instinct is the Creator's imprint. The same imprint rests on you, even when you feel lost. Your spirit knows the way. This is why you must guard your inner compass. Don't drown it in noise. Don't suffocate it with compromise. Learn to pause, to listen, to ask, am I aligned? Am I walking the way God's voice directs? Because the difference between wandering and destiny is obedience to that inner whisper. And here's the truth, when you align, you unlock acceleration. Steps that once felt heavy suddenly carry grace. Delays transform into divine timing. Opportunities begin to flow, not by your striving, but by heaven's orchestration. Your compass, once trusted, will not fail you. I want to speak to you personally now. If these words stir your spirit, let this be a moment of agreement. Click like, not for me. but as your silent yes to God's leading. Share this with someone who needs to know their life is not random. Subscribe if you desire to keep walking these steps together, learning how to tune your heart to heaven's compass. And if you feel led, support this ministry through giving. Every seed planted helps carry this message to more chosen ones like you, people who need to know their steps are ordered. This is not about obligation, it is about alignment. When you respond, you are saying, I choose to walk in rhythm with heaven's compass, not the world's confusion. So the next time you face a choice and don't know which way to turn, pause, breathe, remember the compass. Let the still, steady voice within whisper, this is the way, walk in it, trust it, follow it, and watch how every step draws you closer to the destiny already written with your name. Every decision becomes lighter when guided by his compass. Every crossroad turns into clarity, and as you follow, you'll realize you were never wandering. You were always being carried homeward. There are moments when God does not speak through thunder or fire, but through gentle signs scattered across your journey. Some you notice immediately, others you only recognize in hindsight. These signs, sometimes numbers, sometimes patterns, sometimes unexpected confirmations, are like divine fingerprints pressed into your path. They remind you that your steps are not random, but orchestrated. Think about how many times you've seen the same number repeat, or how a phrase seems to echo from different voices in a short span of time. That is not coincidence. That is heaven, aligning details to get your attention. Just as the rainbow was a covenant for Noah, so too these small signals are reminders that God is directing your steps, according to what is revealed in the book of Job, chapter 33, verse 14. For God does speak now one way, now another, though no one perceives it. No, this truth still unfolds today. God whispers in ways that feel ordinary but carry extraordinary meaning. A delay in your schedule that saved you from harm, a number that appears when you're seeking confirmation, a conversation that perfectly answers your private prayer. You are not moving blind. You are being guided by unseen hands. Let me share a story. A young man once struggled with whether to accept a new opportunity. He prayed, but silence lingered. One morning, as he walked to work, he kept noticing the number 44 on a billboard, on a license plate, on the clock. At first, he brushed it off, but later, he opened his Bible and his eyes landed on Psalm 44. Speaking of God's deliverance and faithfulness, it was then he knew the answer. God was directing him forward. What seemed like random repetition was actually divine confirmation. You may have your own story of signs. Perhaps it was a dream that stayed with you. Perhaps a stranger's words pierced your heart. Perhaps you kept seeing the same scripture surface again and again. Each of these moments is heaven's way of ordering your steps. Picture a traveler walking in thick fog. He cannot see the horizon, but along the path, small lanterns appear at intervals. Each lantern is not the final destination, but it is enough to keep him moving forward. That is how divine signs work. They may not show you the entire future, but they give you courage for the next step. Chosen one. You are not abandoned in uncertainty. You are being given markers, holy breadcrumbs leading you back to the place of alignment. The reason God uses such signs is not because he is mysterious, but because he knows your heart longs for assurance. He knows the weight you carry and the doubts you battle. So he sprinkles confirmations along the path, reminding you, I am here. I am leading you. Do not ignore these signals. Pay attention. Keep a journal of the patterns you notice, the scriptures that repeat, the words that keep returning. Over time, you will see the map forming. You will realize that the God who orders galaxies also orders your footsteps in the smallest details. And here is a mystery. Sometimes the numbers themselves are prophetic. Just as 7 represented completion, 40 represented testing, and 12 represented authority in Scripture. So too, the numbers you encounter may carry meaning when you keep seeing them. Ask God, what are you showing me? You may find that heaven is speaking through what seems ordinary. Imagine standing at a crossroads. One road is wide and crowded, the other narrow and uncertain. Which do you take? On the wide road, signs flash with promises of ease. On the narrow road, a simple carved wooden sign stands weathered, but pointing true. It seems unimpressive, but it is the mark of the shepherd. If you trust that sign, you will find yourself exactly where you were meant to be. This is your life, a series of crossroads, each marked with subtle yet divine signals. You are never left without guidance. You are never asked to wander aimlessly. The one who orders your steps ensures you will not miss your destiny. So right now, if your spirit resonates with this truth, take a prophetic step of agreement. In the comments, write the number 44, not as superstition, but as faith. Let it stand as your declaration. Lord, I see your signs. I trust your ordering. I will not ignore the signals you place before me. When you write 44, you are aligning your heart with heaven's direction, saying, I choose to recognize your voice in every detail. Oh, remember, you are not alone in this journey. Every repeated number, every echo of Scripture, every divine coincidence is heaven's way of keeping you on track. And when you honor these signs, you will find yourself walking with a confidence no shadow can shake. One of the greatest lies the enemy whispers is that people or circumstances have the power to block your destiny. He tries to convince you that the betrayal of friends, the rejection of family, the schemes of enemies, or the failures of your past can derail what God has written. But the truth is unshakable. No weapon formed against you can prosper when your steps are ordered by heaven. Look back at your life for a moment. How many times did someone plot against you? How many times did voices rise up to tear you down, to make you quit, to bury your potential before it could bloom? Yet here you are, still standing, still walking, still chosen. If their plans were stronger than God's purpose, you would not have made it this far. We read in the book of Isaiah, chapter 54, verse 17, no weapon forged against you will prevail, and you will refute every tongue that accuses you. This is the heritage of the servants of the Lord. Notice the promise. It does not say weapons will not be formed. It does not say tongues will not rise against you. It says they will not prevail. They will not succeed. The very fact that you are alive, breathing, and still moving forward is living evidence of this truth. Think of Daniel in the lion's den. Men conspired against him, set traps, and manipulated laws. To any human eye, Daniel's fate was sealed, but God's hand was greater. Lions that should have devoured him became silent witnesses of God's protection. What was meant for his destruction turned into his elevation. The same is true for you. The schemes of people cannot outweigh the sovereignty of God. Sometimes it feels like enemies hold the power, especially when their actions cause pain. A betrayal cuts deeper than a blade. Words of slander echo louder than truth. Yet every strike against you becomes material in God's workshop. What they meant for harm, he reshapes into strength. Like Joseph, who told his brothers, "You meant it for evil, but God meant it for good." No, imagine a blacksmith hammering on steel. Sparks fly. Flames roar. The metal bends and groans. To the onlooker, it looks like destruction. But the blacksmith is not breaking the steel. He is shaping it into a weapon strong enough to endure. That is what God does with the battles you face. Every attack is turned into a shaping force, strengthening you for greater purpose. Your enemies cannot block what they did not create. They did not breathe life into you. They did not knit you together in the womb. They did not write your destiny before time began. Therefore, they cannot cancel what they never authored. Only the author has the authority over the story, and he has declared victory over your life. Think also of a river flowing down a mountain. Rocks and fallen trees may obstruct its path, but the water always finds a way forward. Sometimes it carves around the obstacle. Sometimes it rises above and flows over. Sometimes it digs deeper until a new path emerges. But one way or another, the river never stops. That river is you, and the Spirit of God within you ensures that no obstacle, no enemy, no plot can stop your flow toward destiny. Chosen one, your very presence threatens darkness. That is why opposition rises so fiercely against you. But opposition is not proof of defeat. It is proof of value. Thieves don't break into empty houses. The enemy attacks what he fears, and he fears the light you carry. So when voices accuse, when plans rise against you, when doors seem closed by others' hands, remember this: their reach is limited. Their power is temporary. But the hand ordering your steps is eternal. You are not at the mercy of people's opinions or attacks. You are carried by a will that cannot be overturned. Your task, then, is simple, but not easy. Keep walking. Don't let fear of enemies paralyze you. Don't let betrayal turn you bitter. Don't let rejection convince you that you are forsaken. Lift your eyes higher. See the one who walks ahead of you, scattering every weapon before it strikes. This is the heritage of the chosen. Enemies may surround you. Storms may rage. Accusations may rise. But destiny remains untouched. The ordered steps of your life are secured, shielded, unstoppable, even in the fiercest night. Your steps are lit by a flame no enemy can quench. Their noise fades, but your calling resounds. Remember this: you walk shielded, unstoppable, under heaven's unbreakable decree of victory. There is a tension that every chosen one knows well. The long gap between promise and fulfillment. God speaks a word, a vision, a dream into your spirit. But then life seems to move in the opposite direction. Doors close, time stretches, prayers seem delayed. In those seasons, you must remember, delay is not denial. Abraham knew this. God promised him descendants as numerous as the stars, yet decades passed with no child. Each year felt like a cruel reminder of what hadn't happened. Yet, the promise was not void. It was waiting for God's appointed time. And when Isaac was finally born, it was not merely a child. It was the living proof that God's word never returns empty. Your own waiting season carries the same truth. What looks like stagnation is often preparation. When God delays, He is not punishing, He is positioning. Just as soil must rest before producing harvest, your spirit sometimes needs hidden seasons before the promise can bloom. The ancient words recorded in Habakkuk, chapter 2, verse 3 declare, "For the revelation awaits an appointed time. It speaks of the end and will not prove false. Though it lingers, wait for it. It will certainly come and will not delay." Avlu, this is not simply encouragement, it is instruction. Waiting requires trust. It requires learning to live with patience when everything in you longs for acceleration. It means believing that God's clock cannot be rushed, yet it never runs late. Imagine a potter shaping clay. The vessel could be taken out of the kiln too soon, but it would be fragile, unable to endure use. Only by enduring the full process of heat does it become strong, unbreakable. That is you. If the answer came too soon, it might destroy you. But when it comes in God's timing, you will be ready to carry it. There is a story of a young woman who longed for marriage. She prayed for years. Yet every relationship ended. Her heart grew weary, convinced God had forgotten. But what she didn't see was that her future husband was also being refined. His character was being tested. His roots deepened. His faith sharpened. When the time finally came, their union was not just a relationship, it was a ministry. A partnership forged in waiting. Delay had never been denial. It was preparation for something greater. You, too, may feel frustration building. You may look at others who seem to leap ahead while you remain stuck. But comparison blinds you to the truth. God is not making you late, He is making you precise. Your journey is not measured against theirs. It is measured against the divine plan uniquely designed for you. Picture a fruit tree. In early spring, buds appear, weeks pass, and leaves unfold. But the fruit is hidden, forming slowly, silently. If someone impatiently plucked the branch too soon, they would find bitterness. Yet if they wait, sweetness emerges at just the right season. That is the law of waiting. Your promise, too, is ripening unseen. Chosen one. Remember this: what God spoke will not expire. His word is not fragile paper that fades in the rain. It is eternal stone carved by His hand. Every delay is an alignment. Every pause is an unseen construction. Behind the curtain of time, the stage of your destiny is being prepared. And when the doors open, it will happen suddenly. What lingered for years may unfold in moments. One shift, one opportunity, one connection, and everything changes. That is why waiting is not wasted. The longer the bow is pulled back, the further the arrow flies. You may be in the middle of that bowstring tension right now. Pulled, stretched, tested, but hold steady. For when God releases you, acceleration will redeem every waiting year. Delay is not denial. It is the divine pause that ensures the story ends, not in disappointment, but in glory. Trust the process. Trust the timing. Trust the one who orders your steps, even when those steps seem still. And as you wait, let hope anchor you. Waiting is not empty space. It is fertile ground where faith grows stronger, patience deepens, and resilience takes root. Every unanswered prayer is not silence but construction. Heaven is weaving threads together, preparing a tapestry you cannot yet see. Do not despise the slow pace. It is safeguarding you from collapse. Do not confuse hiddenness with abandonment. God hides his treasures until the right season. One day soon, you will look back and realize the delay was mercy. The pause was love, and the waiting was the greatest training of all. There is a gentle power in obedience, not the kind that shouts from rooftops, but the quiet, steady yes, whispered when no one else is watching. Obedience is the doorway to ordered steps. It is how the compass within your soul stays aligned with heaven's direction. Sometimes, obedience feels small, choosing honesty when a lie would be easier, turning away from bitterness when hurt feels justified, offering forgiveness when pride wants revenge. These acts may not make headlines, but they reverberate in eternity. Each step of obedience is a stone laid on the path toward destiny. The Apostle reminds us in his letter to the Corinthians, second book, chapter 10, verse 5, we take captive every thought to make it obedient to Christ. Notice this, obedience is not only action, it begins in thought. Before your feet move, your mind must submit. Every temptation to rebel is first a whisper in the mind. Every compromise begins as an idea. But when you bring even your thoughts under obedience, your steps naturally follow. Think of a soldier marching. He does not question each step. He does not argue with the command. His trust in the one leading is so complete that he moves in rhythm, certain the path is secure. That is the image of obedience. You are not wandering, you are marching in sync with heaven. There was once a man asked by God to relocate his entire family to another city. The command was clear but terrifying. His career was stable, his friends supportive, his roots deep. Yet something within whispered, "Go." After sleepless nights of wrestling, he surrendered. It was not easy. Boxes packed, goodbyes spoken, but within months of arriving, opportunities unfolded that aligned perfectly with his purpose. Obedience opened what logic could not. You may have felt such whispers too. A prompting to call someone, a conviction to leave behind what no longer aligns with your spirit, a nudge to step into something unfamiliar. These are not coincidences, they are God's invitations. Every time you obey, you position yourself for breakthroughs unseen. Picture a door locked tight. Many bang against it, trying force, persuasion, or cunning to pry it open. Yet in the hand of one who obeys is a small golden key. Obedience is that key. It doesn't look powerful, but it turns locks others cannot break. Even Jesus modeled obedience in Gethsemane. Under crushing weight, he prayed, "Not my will, but yours be done." That surrender became the turning point of history. If obedience carried the Son of God through destiny's narrowest gate, how much more will it carry you, chosen one? Obedience is not about perfection, it is about posture. A heart ready to respond, a spirit tuned to say yes. The more you yield, the clearer your path becomes, and though obedience may cost you comfort, it always rewards you with clarity. Now, to seal this moment, I invite you to declare agreement with heaven's whisper. In the comments, write, "Lead me, Lord." Now, why this phrase? Because when you say, "Lead me, Lord," you are not just typing words, you are opening the gate of surrender. You are saying, "I no longer want to walk by my own instincts. I want to be guided by your Spirit. I will listen. I will follow." Even when the road is unclear, writing it is a prophetic act, a visible sign that you have chosen trust over control. It is like placing the compass of your heart into God's hands and saying, "Point me in the right direction, and I will go." Heaven hears such surrender, and the path before you becomes illuminated with peace and certainty. So walk forward with confidence. Keep your ear attuned to the still, small voice, and when the whisper comes, let your answer be simple, unwavering, and true. Yes, Lord, I will obey. And remember this, obedience is rarely convenient, but it is always fruitful. The world may not applaud when you say yes to God, but heaven records every moment of surrender. Each act of obedience becomes a seed planted in eternal soil. And in time, the harvest will astonish even you. Doors that seemed sealed will swing open with ease. Burdens that felt unbearable will lift because you are walking in alignment, not resistance. And when you look back, you will see a golden thread weaving through every decision, every sacrifice, every yes. That thread is the hand of God guiding you, proving that no step of obedience is ever wasted. In every yes, you are building an unshakable legacy, proving that obedience is the true compass leading you straight into destiny. There are seasons when the door you expected remains shut. And then, suddenly, when you least anticipate it, a door swings wide that you never imagined. These are not random openings, they are divine appointments. God is the master of surprises. And when you trust Him, He places before you opportunities that no resume, no network, no human influence could secure. Think of Joseph again. From prison, he was summoned in a single moment to stand before Pharaoh. He did not schedule that meeting, nor could he have predicted it. Yet, in the blink of an eye, the boy who was forgotten became the man positioned to save nations. This is how God works. Silent preparation followed by sudden acceleration. You may feel as though you've been overlooked. You've sent applications, prayed prayers, knocked on doors, only to hear silence. But do not be discouraged. Heaven is preparing an opening with your name etched into it. And when it appears, it will not be small. It will be so evident that even your critics will have to admit this was the hand of God. The Spirit spoke through the prophet Isaiah, chapter 22, verse 22. What He opens, no one can shut, and what He shuts, no one can open. This is the key of destiny. When God opens, no man can close. When He closes, no man can pry it open. Your role is not to push with force, but to walk in readiness. When the appointed door appears, you must have the faith to step through. Imagine walking through a corridor lined with doors. Some look appealing, shining with gold, but remain locked. Others are plain, almost invisible, yet suddenly swing open as you pass. God often hides greatness behind ordinary frames. The plain door becomes the path to extraordinary destiny. That is why you cannot judge opportunities by appearance. You must discern them by spirit. I remember a testimony of a woman who labored for years in obscurity. She served faithfully in small tasks, unseen by many. Then one day, without warning, she was invited to step into a position of leadership that carried influence she never sought. Her secret? She remained faithful in the hidden season. When the sudden door opened, she was ready. Chosen one. Do not underestimate your season of preparation. Every act of faithfulness is oil in your lamp. When the door swings open, you will not scramble, you will shine. You will be equipped for the opportunity because heaven has been shaping you for it all along. Picture a key fitting into a lock. Many keys may rattle against it, but only one fits. That key is your obedience, your endurance, your trust. And when it turns, the door does not resist. It opens smoothly, as if it had been waiting just for you. And here is where I pause to speak heart to heart. If these words awaken hope in you, let's seal it with action. Click like as a quiet testimony that you are ready for the doors heaven has prepared. Share this message with someone who feels locked out, so they too may believe in sudden openings. Subscribe so you can keep walking this journey with us, learning how to discern and step through the right doors. And if you feel led, support this ministry through giving. Your generosity helps carry this word further, reaching other chosen ones who are standing at their threshold, waiting for courage to walk through. These are not obligations, they are alignments. Each act is a way of saying, I am preparing, I am expecting, I am believing for the sudden door. So lift your head. Do not despise closed doors. They are protecting you. Do not fear locked gates. They are redirecting you. For soon, a door will open. One you could never have forced. One you could never have predicted. And when it does, you will know it was never about chance. It was always about destiny. And when that door opens, do not hesitate. Step forward boldly, for hesitation can cause you to miss what heaven has arranged. Remember, the door is not only about you, it is about those connected to your obedience. When Joseph entered Pharaoh's court, his obedience saved nations. When Esther stepped into the king's presence, her courage preserved her people. So too, your door will not just bless your life. It will ripple outward to impact countless others. This is why preparation matters. Why faithfulness in the hidden seasons matters. Why trust in God's timing matters. For the sudden opening ahead carries not only promise, but assignment. Not only blessing, but responsibility. Step through, ready, and watch destiny unfold. Every battle you have faced has not been random. Each struggle, each hardship, each unseen war within your heart has been part of the process of refining you. While it may feel as if life has been against you, in truth, heaven has been using every challenge as fire that purifies gold. You are being shaped, not shattered. You are being forged into strength that cannot be imitated. The trials you walked through were not meant to destroy you. They were meant to reveal what was already inside of you. Gold cannot fear fire, for fire only proves its authenticity. In the same way, when you pass through affliction, your true nature as a chosen one shines brighter. The Apostle James wrote in his letter, chapter 1, verses 2 to 3, "Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. No, notice carefully, joy is not in the trial itself, but in what it produces. The refining does not happen in easy seasons. It happens in the furnace of pressure, in the midnight hours of tears, in the battles you never asked for, but could not avoid. Think of a sword. Before it gleams in the hand of a warrior, it begins as raw, metal rough, dull, unshaped. The blacksmith hammers it, heats it, plunges it into water, then hammers again. Ash strike strengthens it. Each flame tempers it. Without this process, the sword would snap at the first clash. In the same way, your hardships are forging you into a weapon fit for destiny. There was a man who lost his business overnight. Years of labor collapsed in a single season, leaving him with nothing but questions and grief. At first, he thought it was the end of his story. But as months passed, he realized the loss had stripped away pride, dependence on wealth, and false security. From the ashes, a new vision was born. Years later, he built a company with integrity, one that blessed communities rather than just himself. The first battle refined him for the second, and the second carried him to true purpose. Your story may carry the same pattern. What looked like devastation was actually excavation. God was digging deeper, clearing out what could not remain, so that your foundation would be strong enough to hold the weight of your calling. Imagine a vineyard. The vine dresser prunes branches, cutting back growth that looks healthy. To the untrained eye, it seems cruel. Yet the gardener knows that pruning allows the vine to produce richer fruit. The cutting is not punishment, it is preparation for abundance. In the same way, the losses you endured were not subtraction, but multiplication disguised. Chosen one. Every scar on your heart is evidence that you survived a battle others could not. Each wound tells a story of endurance. And though the enemy tried to bury you under pain, what he buried was a seed. Seeds only grow when buried. Your battle has been your planting ground. Picture yourself as a diamond deep underground. For centuries, pressure builds, crushing, pressing, weighing down. Yet under that unbearable weight, carbon transforms into brilliance. One day, when uncovered, the stone shines with light that captivates nations. Your battles, your pressures, your hidden years, they are turning you into something priceless. Do not resent the furnace. Do not despise the valley. Do not curse the storm. These were not interruptions, they were instruments. They carried lessons no book could teach, wisdom no mentor could fully impart, resilience no easy season could form. Now, as you walk forward, know this: every battle you endured is not wasted. Each one was a step upward, a refining fire, a preparation for the elevation ahead. You are not fragile glass, you are tempered steel. You are not crushed ashes, you are purified gold. And when the next challenge comes, you will not tremble as before. You will remember the fires you survived, the storms you endured, and you will rise with confidence. If God brought you through then, He will bring you through again. And more than that, every storm you endured has deposited wisdom into your spirit. The scars on your soul are not signs of weakness, they are badges of survival. They remind you that you did not collapse where others fell, and you did not drown where others sank. This is why the next mountain will not intimidate you. and the next valley will not break you. You have already been tested. You have already been proven. And now you carry a resilience that cannot be stolen. There is a rhythm to heaven that is unlike the rhythm of this world. Earth measures time by clocks and calendars, but God measures by alignment, by the weaving together of people, seasons, and even numbers. When your steps are ordered, you begin to notice the synchronization. What once seemed random becomes a pattern. What once felt delayed is revealed as perfect timing. Scripture reveals in the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 3, verse 1, there is a time for everything, and a season for every activity under the heavens. Seasons are not accidents. Numbers, timings, alignments, they all testify that your life is under divine orchestration. You are not stumbling blindly. Heaven is arranging connections, aligning moments, and even speaking through the patterns you see. Think of the Israelites circling Jericho. They marched once each day for 6 days. And on the 7th, 7 times. To outsiders, it must have seemed strange steps and numbers without immediate results. Yet obedience to God's rhythm brought walls crashing down. The steps, the numbers, the timing, none of it was wasted. All of it was synchronized for breakthrough. You may have felt like your life has been circling, repeating patterns. But what if those circles are not wasted wandering? What if they are preparation, synchronization with a greater plan? Heaven is not careless with your steps. Every loop, every pause, every repetition is calibrating you for the exact moment when walls fall and destiny unfolds. Imagine a clockmaker adjusting gears within a watch. Each tiny piece seems insignificant, yet together they allow perfect timekeeping. If one gear is out of place, the entire watch falters. In the same way, your life is a gear in God's grand design. Your obedience, your waiting, your trust, they are aligning you with heaven's perfect time. There was a young woman who noticed she kept waking at the same hour each night. At first, she thought it was stress, but then she began to pray in those moments. Over time, she realized God was inviting her into intercession, aligning her with His heartbeat in the night. What seemed like coincidence was actually synchronization with heaven's rhythm. Chosen one. Pay attention. Numbers, timings, patterns, they are not trivial. They are whispers of eternity, breaking into your everyday life. Heaven speaks in ways both grand and subtle. When you notice repetition, pause and ask, Lord, what are you saying? What are you aligning? You may find that even small details are carrying divine instruction. Picture waves rolling onto the shore. To the untrained eye, it looks like endless repetition, but to sailors, waves carry rhythm, momentum, and direction. They reveal tides and seasons. In the same way, repeated signs in your life are waves guiding you towards safe harbor. God is weaving synchronization into your path, even now. The right people will arrive not too early, not too late, but precisely when needed. Opportunities will align, not by your striving, but by heaven's orchestration. Numbers you keep seeing are not empty, they are signals of order. And here is how you can step into this alignment. Acknowledge it. Right now, as a prophetic act, I invite you to write the number 33 inch, the comments. Why 33? Because it echoes the years Jesus lived on earth before completing His earthly mission, a perfect picture of divine timing fulfilled. When you write 33, you are declaring, I choose to trust heaven's synchronization over my own clock. I yield to God's timing, even when I don't understand it. I believe every detail is aligning for my good. This simple act becomes more than a comment. It is a declaration that you are not lost in random time. You are in sync with eternity's rhythm. So lift your eyes from the ticking clock of anxiety. Heaven's timing is never late, never early, but always perfect. Trust the synchronization, honor the numbers, and walk forward with confidence that every step is woven into divine order. When you embrace this truth, even waiting becomes worship. You no longer panic when doors seem delayed, because you know they are timed with precision. You no longer fear missing your moment, because what belongs to you cannot be stolen. Synchronization means your story is tied to heaven's calendar, not man's deadlines. Every connection, every divine encounter, every open door is scheduled by the author of time itself. So breathe deeply, rest in the rhythm. Just as the sun rises and sets without fail, your appointed season will also appear. And when it does, you will recognize it instantly, because your spirit has already been tuned to heaven's timing. There is a moment every chosen one must face, the step of surrender. It is not the step that comes after victory, nor the step taken when the way is clear. It is the step taken in trust, when control must be laid down and the heart whispers, not my will, but yours be done. Surrender is not weakness, it is the deepest form of strength. To surrender is to unclench your hands, to release your grip on the outcomes you think you need, and to trust that God's plan surpasses your own. Many fear surrender because it feels like loss. But in truth, surrender is the doorway to the narrow path where destiny unfolds. We see this truth in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 16, verse 24. Whoever wants to be my disciple must deny themselves and take up their cross and follow me. This is not a call to misery, it is a call to alignment. When you yield, you step out of striving and into order. The cross you carry is not meant to crush you, but to refine you, to strip away what cannot enter your promised future. Imagine a traveler carrying a heavy backpack filled with stones. Each stone represents control, fear, resentment, pride. The road ahead narrows until the path is too tight for both the traveler and the weight to continue forward. The load must be released. The traveler drops the stones, and suddenly the climb becomes possible again. That is surrender, releasing what you thought you needed so that you can move where you are meant to go. There was once a man who clung to a career that drained his spirit but padded his security. He prayed for God's blessing, yet deep inside he knew he was resisting the call to leave. It was only when he surrendered, resigning without knowing the next step, that peace flooded his heart. Months later, he stepped into work that aligned perfectly with his gifts and brought life to others. What seemed like loss at first was revealed as liberation. Surrender always feels costly because it touches the places we value most. Abraham was asked to lay Isaac on the altar, not because God wanted Isaac gone, but because God wanted Abraham's heart fully yielded. When Abraham surrendered, heaven intervened, and the promise remained intact. The test was never about losing Isaac, it was about proving trust. Your life may be in such a test now. Perhaps it is a relationship, a plan, a dream you've built. God may be whispering, lay it down, trust me with it. And while fear insists, you will be left empty. Faith assures you that what is surrendered into God's hands is never wasted. Think of water poured into the earth. To the eye, it varnishes, gone into the soil. Yet in time, that same water becomes nourishment, feeding roots, awakening growth. So it is with surrender. What you release into God's ground is not lost, it is transformed into future fruit. The prophet Jeremiah described God as the potter, shaping clay on the wheel. Sometimes the vessel collapses, and the potter reshapes it. The clay cannot argue, cannot dictate its form. It must yield to the hands that mold it. That is the picture of surrender. You are the clay, and the potter knows what vessel you were always meant to become. Chosen one. Do not mistake surrender for defeat. Defeat is forced, surrender is chosen. Defeat robs, surrender enriches. Defeat ends stories, surrender begins them. Every great step in Scripture was marked by surrender. Moses laying down his staff, Mary yielding with the words, "Let it be unto me." Jesus bowing in Gethsemane. Each surrender unlocked glory far beyond imagination. So consider what you are holding tightly. Ask yourself, is this weight keeping me from walking the narrow way? Is my grip preventing me from receiving what God longs to place in my hand? Remember, an open hand can receive, but a clenched fist cannot. Surrender is not the end of control, it is the beginning of freedom. And when you step into it, you discover the paradox. The moment you give everything to God, you gain everything you truly need. And as you surrender, peace will settle where anxiety once lived. The need to calculate every outcome will fade, replaced by quiet trust. You will find yourself lighter, freer, and strangely stronger, because in letting go, you will finally discover that the one guiding your steps was never asking you to walk empty. He was preparing you to walk full, carrying only what was eternal, only what could endure. Every test you have endured was never meant to leave you stranded in the fire. God allows His chosen ones to walk through seasons of pressure, not as punishment, but as preparation for elevation. The furnace is not your destination, it is your proving ground. And when the fire has done its work, promotion always follows. Think of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego standing before the blazing furnace. Their obedience led them into flames, yet not a hair was singed. Not even the smell of smoke clung to them. Instead, the Son of God walked with them in the fire. When they emerged, the very king who condemned them issued a decree honoring their God. Their elevation came after testing. What looked like destruction became their stage for glory. This pattern echoes across Scripture and across your life as well. Joseph was tested with betrayal, slavery, and prison before elevation to Pharaoh's court. David was tested in caves, hunted like prey, before he wore the crown. Esther was tested by fear of the king's wrath before she was exalted to save her people. The furnace always precedes the throne. We read in the first letter of Peter, chapter 1, verse 7, "These trials will show that your faith is genuine. It is being tested as fire tests and purifies gold, though your faith is far more precious than mere gold." End 4. Notice what this reveals. Trials are not evidence of abandonment, but of value. Gold is tested because it is valuable. Worthless stones are never refined in fire. You have been tested because you carry weight in the kingdom. The intensity of your trials is proof of the magnitude of your calling. Imagine a staircase spiraling upward. Each step seems small, even repetitive, yet it brings you higher. Trials are those steps, one after another. They feel exhausting, but when you pause and look back, you realize how far you have risen. That is the hidden nature of testing. It does not just measure you, it lifts you. There was once a woman who endured the crushing disappointment of repeated rejection. Every door she knocked on remained closed. Every application ended in silence. She questioned if she was cursed, forgotten, invisible. But during that season, her character deepened. She grew in humility, compassion, and wisdom. When her breakthrough came, it was not just a position, it was influence, authority, and honor. The rejections were steps that carried her into elevation she could not have borne earlier. You may be in such a furnace now. Perhaps it feels endless, consuming, unused. But what if this fire is the very process that is lifting you? What if every test is chiseling away what cannot accompany you into the next level? God does not waste fire. He uses it to refine, to strengthen, to elevate. Think of a mountain climber scaling upward. Each ledge demands endurance, musculosage, long spurn. But with each pull, the horizon widens. Finally, the summit reveals a view that justifies every struggle. Your climb, too, will end with elevation that makes every hardship worthwhile. The truth is, elevation is dangerous without preparation. A crown without testing becomes a curse. Influence without humility collapses under pride. Authority without compassion wounds rather than heals. That is why God allows the fire to ensure that when promotion comes, you are ready to carry it. Chosen one, your testing has not been in vain. You are being forged into one who can stand in places others cannot. The pressure you endured is evidence that heaven intends to raise you, and though the process is painful, the result will be undeniable. So hold steady in the fire. Do not confuse the furnace with the finish. This is not where your story ends. This is where it is being prepared for its greatest chapter. Soon, you will emerge with the fragrance of heaven upon you, standing in places you once only dreamed of, crowned with purpose, born from the flames. And when that season arrives, you will look back at the furnace differently. What once felt unbearable will be remembered as the place where you met God most deeply. You will see how the fire burned away fear, how it stripped off pride, how it refined your faith until it gleamed. You will realize the furnace was never your enemy. It was your promotion wrapped in disguise. For from the ashes rises authority. From the flames emerges wisdom, and from the trials comes glory. So do not dread the fire. Welcome it as the bridge to your crown, for soon you will stand elevated, carrying proof that you were never abandoned but always prepared. When your steps are ordered, you do not walk only for yourself. You become a light bearer, a torch in the hands of God, guiding others out of their own darkness. Your journey, with all its struggles, victories, and lessons, is not meant to remain hidden. It becomes a lamp for those still stumbling, a testimony that whispers, "If God could guide me, He can guide you too." Light bearers are not made on the mountaintop. They are formed in the valleys, in the long nights where tears soaked the pillow, in the hours when you thought you had nothing left to give. That is where the oil for your lamp was pressed. Your endurance became oil. Your prayers became flame. And now, you carry a light that terrifies the shadows. The Apostle Paul reminds us in the book of Philippians, chapter 2, verse 15, "Then you will shine among them, like stars in the sky, as you hold firmly to the word of life." This is your calling, not just to shine, but to shine publicly. Light was never meant to be hidden under a bowl. It is meant to stand where it can be seen, where others trapped in confusion can find direction. Think of a lighthouse on a stormy coast. Waves crash, thunder roars. Ships are tossed violently in the night. To the sailors, that one beam of light becomes hope, becomes survival, becomes the line between destruction and safety. You are that lighthouse for someone else. Your story, your resilience, your ordered steps are the beam they need to keep moving. I remember hearing of a man who battled years of addiction. He thought he was too broken to be of use. But after finding freedom, he began to share his story. Slowly, others trapped in the same cycle started reaching out. What he thought was shame became light. What once chained him became a torch he carried to lead others out. That is what it means to walk as a light bearer. Chosen one. Your pain was never wasted. Every scar glows now with light. Every wound, healed by God's hand, becomes a lantern for others. Even your failures, when surrendered, transform into testimonies of grace. Darkness cannot argue with a light that has survived. But here is where many hesitate. Shining means vulnerability. It means stepping into visibility, letting others see the cracks as well as the flame. Yet it is through the cracks that the light escapes. You were never called to be flawless. You were called to be luminous. Picture yourself holding a torch in a cavern. Behind you, others stumble in the dark. They don't need you to be perfect. They need you to keep walking with your torch high. As long as you keep carrying the flame, they will find their way. And now, I want to pause and invite you to respond in faith. Click like as a declaration that you are ready to carry light, not hide it. Share this message with someone who needs to be reminded that their scars can shine too. Subscribe so you can continue receiving words that fuel your lamp and strengthen your walk as a light bearer. Leave a comment below with the words, "I will shine," as a prophetic declaration that your light will not be hidden. And if you feel led, donate to support this ministry. Every seed sown helps us carry this light further, reaching souls who are still lost in the shadows. Remember, these are not obligations, they are acts of alignment. They are ways of saying, "I will not hide. I will not keep silent. I choose to shine." So others may see the path too. Your light is not small. It may have flickered in storms, but it never went out. And now, as you walk forward, it grows stronger, brighter, unstoppable. Darkness does not win against even the smallest flame. So imagine the brilliance when countless chosen ones, like you, lift their torches together. Entire landscapes are illuminated. Cities on hills blaze with unshakable glory. Chosen one. This is who you are, a carrier of light. Ordered steps that shine not only for you, but for generations to follow. Lift your torch high. Keep walking. And remember, when you shine, others will see, and they will find the courage to walk too. And when you lift that torch, remember, you are not shining alone. Heaven itself reflects through you. Angels move at the light you carry. And those who once walked in shadows will recognize hope in your glow. Every step forward sends ripples of illumination into families, cities, and even generations to come. Do not underestimate your flame. One small light can spark revival. One steady torch can ignite a movement. Keep shining, because your obedience today births transformation tomorrow. There comes a moment in the journey of every chosen one when the pieces finally align, and you see why the path was so winding, why the battles were so fierce, why the waiting was so long. It was all leading here to the crown of purpose, not a crown of vanity or pride, but a crown placed by God Himself, declaring that your ordered steps have brought you into assignment, into authority, into destiny. The crown is not given because of perfection. It is given because of perseverance. It rests on the head of those who did not quit when quitting was easy. It belongs to those who trusted the compass, walked through the valley, obeyed the whisper, endured the furnace, and still carried the light. The crown is the seal of heaven's approval, a mark that says, "You have been faithful in little. Now I can trust you with much." The writings of Peter remind us in the first letter of Peter, chapter 5, verse 4, "And when the chief shepherd appears, you will receive the crown of glory that will never fade away." This crown is not only for apostles and prophets of old, but for every chosen one who endures. It is the promise that faithfulness has a reward. The battles were not pointless. They were shaping you to wear what others could not bear. Imagine a royal diadem being forged. Gold is heated, shaped, refined. Jewels are chosen carefully, each one set with precision. It takes time, pressure, artistry. Only when the work is complete can the crown rest upon the head of the chosen ruler. In the same way, your life has been forged into something that can now hold the crown without it slipping. There was once a young leader who dreamed of great influence. He wanted the stage, the recognition, the crown, but early on, when given opportunities, his immaturity caused harm. He was not ready. God, in His mercy, hid him in obscurity for years, teaching humility, building patience, and deepening wisdom. When the day finally came and responsibility was placed on his shoulders, he was no longer the same man. He could carry the crown with honor. The delay was not rejection, it was preparation for weight. So too in your life. The assignments you once thought you were ready for would have crushed you. The influence you craved too soon would have corrupted you. But now, after valleys and battles, after surrender and obedience, you are able to stand tall with the crown of purpose resting firmly on your head. Think of the crown not only as authority, but as responsibility. A crown is not merely decoration, it is a charge to lead, to serve, to shine. Wearing it means others will look to you for guidance, protection, wisdom. That is why your journey has been so intense, because the crown is not light. It demands weight of character, depth of compassion, and strength of endurance. Chosen one, the crown upon you is not made of earthly gold, but of eternal purpose. It signifies that you belong to a kingdom unshakable. Every test was a preparation for this honor. Every surrender was a shaping of this crown. Every moment of hidden faithfulness was a jewel added to its design. Picture yourself walking into a great hall. Angels line the path. witnesses to your journey. You bow your head, and the king himself places the crown upon you. It is not applause you hear, but a voice saying, "Well done, faithful one." That is the true moment of arrival, not the applause of men, but the approval of heaven. And yet, even here, this is not the end. The crown is not the finish line, but the beginning of assignment. You are crowned not to sit idly, but to step fully into the purpose designed for you from the beginning. The authority you now carry is to lift others. The wisdom you have gained is to guide others. The light you shine is to lead others. The crown is not for display, it is for service. So walk forward with confidence. You have been prepared. You have been refined. And now, crowned in His purpose, you step into the fullness of why you were chosen. And as you carry this crown, remember that it is both honor and responsibility. It reminds you that your scars were not wasted, your waiting was not meaningless, and your obedience was never ignored. Every jewel in your crown testifies of battles won, valleys passed, and nights endured. Wear it with humility, with courage, and with joy, knowing that heaven itself recognizes your perseverance. For the crown is not the end of your journey, it is the beginning of your legacy. Every path you have walked, every tear you have cried, every valley you have endured has been shaping you for this, the unshakable journey ahead. You are not standing where you began. You are not who you once were. Every scar, every prayer, every hidden battle has carved strength into your spirit, preparing you for steps no one else could walk but you. The journey ahead is not promised to be easy, but it is promised to be secure. Secure not because of your own ability, but because of the one who orders your steps. The foundation beneath you is not shifting sand, it is the rock of divine purpose. And when you walk upon that rock, storms may rage, winds may howl, but you will not be moved. The Apostle Paul declares in Romans chapter 8, verse 37, "In all these things we are more than conquerors through Him who loved us." More than conquerors, not barely surviving, not barely making it, but walking in victory that cannot be overturned. This is the destiny of the chosen ones, to carry resilience that outlasts storms, to carry faith that outshines darkness, to carry love that outlives fear. Think of a tree rooted deep beside a river. Winds may bend it, storms may strike it, but because its roots reach water that never runs dry, it stands unbroken. That is you. Your roots are not in temporary soil, they are anchored in eternity. The deeper your roots go into God's presence, the taller you rise, the stronger you endure, the more unshakable you become. Your future will still hold challenges. Every great calling attracts opposition. Every true destiny stirs resistance. But remember, the strength within you is greater than the force against you. The battles ahead will not break you. They will only prove what heaven has already declared over you. There was once a woman who endured season after season of loss, yet instead of collapsing, she chose to keep walking, to keep believing, to keep trusting. Years later, her testimony became the strength others leaned on. She did not emerge from her journey bitter. She emerged radiant, a living witness that God's chosen are never abandoned. Her story was not survival, it was victory. Chosen one. That same resilience lives in you. The unshakable journey ahead is marked not by your weakness, but by God's strength perfected in you. What once terrified you will no longer have power. What once silenced you will no longer hold your voice. You are stepping into a future where your very presence carries authority because you walk with the weight of heaven's promise. Imagine a torchbearer leading through the night. Shadows flee at every step, not because the night has ended, but because the light is advancing. That is your journey. Darkness may still exist, but it cannot stop you. Your light disrupts it. Your steps push it back, and your endurance proves that nothing can extinguish what God has ignited. You may wonder what lies ahead, what doors will open, what battles will rise, what roads will twist. But you do not need to know every detail. You only need to know the one walking beside you, and he has promised never to leave, never to forsake, never to abandon. His presence is your compass. His word is your lamp. His spirit is your strength. Think of Israel stepping into the promised land. Giants stood in the way, but promises outweighed fear. Walls towered high, but faith brought them down. Rivers blocked the path, but the waters parted. Every obstacle was real, but every obstacle bowed before God's ordered steps. And so it will be for you. The unshakable journey ahead will also bring fruit, peace that remains even when chaos swirls, joy that does not vanish in trial, influence that uplifts others. Born from the battles you endured, you will carry not just blessings for yourself, but blessings that overflow to those around you, families, friends. Even strangers will taste the fruit of your obedience. Chosen one, walk boldly. The unshakable journey ahead is not a road of fear, it is a road of fulfillment. Every valley has strengthened your legs. Every storm has deepened your roots. Every battle has sharpened your vision. You are ready now in ways you were not before. So lift your head. Straighten your shoulders. The future is not uncertain, it is secured. The God who ordered your steps yesterday will order them tomorrow. And though you may still feel the weight of the unknown, remember this: you were made for this journey. You were chosen for this exact path, and nothing, no shadow, no storm, no scheme of darkness can unwrite what heaven has already declared. You are unshakable. You are unstoppable. You are stepping into destiny, carrying eternal promise, walking with eternal authority, crowned with eternal glory. And as you move forward, your story will continue to testify. Every step was ordered, every moment was purposeful, and every mile led you closer to the glory prepared for you. Chosen one. This journey we've walked together does not end here. Every word you've heard has been seed planted into the soil of your spirit. And now it is time to water it with action. What you do in this moment is how you tell heaven, I am ready to walk in alignment. So I invite you, click like as a personal declaration, a simple yet powerful act that says, yes, I receive this word. Yes, I will carry it forward. Share this message with someone who is searching for direction, someone who feels unseen, someone who needs to know that their steps, too, are ordered. Your share could be the spark that pulls them out of despair. Leave a comment with the words, I receive this. It is more than typing. It is a prophetic statement that you are stepping into divine order, trusting the path ahead, and claiming your crown. If you have not already, subscribe, so you never walk alone in this journey. Stay connected, stay fed, and let your spirit be strengthened continually by words that remind you of who you are and whose you are. And finally, if you feel stirred in your heart, consider donating or sowing into this ministry. Every seed extends the reach of this message, carrying light into homes, families, and nations. You may never see every face it touches, but eternity will record your faithfulness. Chosen one, walk boldly now. The steps before you are not random, they are written. The crown upon you is not temporary, it is eternal. And the journey ahead is not fragile, it is unshakable. This is not the end. This is the beginning of your next chapter. Step forward, shine, fulfill what heaven has already written about you.